Okay, mi gente, today on my book by Corinas by the beach, we're going to read Finding Your Peace, The Magic of Living Here and Now by Brian Heston. So let's get started. We do the first chapter. First, I will read on here. It says, do not be a prisoner of your thoughts, emotions, and concepts. We can easily make the mistake of thinking that is all we are. It is chapter 1, Anxiety, Fear, and Anger of Peace, Love, and Joy. Peace, joy, clarity, rage, sadness, and fear are choices. Recognize it. Anyone who has felt lost and confusion can tell you that choice does not always seem possible. To feel gratitude can seem elusive when you're caught up in dark feelings. It can feel like you're trapped. Choose gratitude over feeling blue. How? First, turn your attention to your breath. Feel it come into you and go out, and recognize the rhythm of life and the value of breath. Now consider what you did to earn that breath. Nothing. It is a gift, right? A priceless gift that can't be bought. Ask a rich man on his deathbed what he paid for another breath. If you're alive, you have a priceless gift. Breathe is one thing we all have in common. That you can easily take for granted. It is probably the most underappreciated and the most valuable thing we have. It facilitates life. It connects us to each other, to the plants, animals, earth, and sky. It's invaluable because it can't be bought, but is given as a gift. The air that you breathe is, science tells us, made up of billions of atoms. I've read that there are more atoms in a human body than stars in the entire universe. Some of those atoms we have in common. According to the science, our bodies contain atoms breathed by everyone who has ever lived. So we are all connected in ways I never really thought much about. Pretty amazing when you consider the implications. I'm breathing some of the same atoms as you, and some of the same atoms are cavemen, Ben Franklin, and Leonardo. A bit mind-boggling to be sure. Each of us is unique. There has never been anyone like you, nor will there be again. It took 13 billion years of evolution to create a human being that is you. Indeed, many of us find excuses to wallow in misery. I can't because fill in the blank. First, you must take responsibility for your past choices and recognize them as your choice, good or bad. It's okay. You are a human being. Mistakes are all right. They may have consequences, but it's okay. So forgive yourself. Never feel like a victim. You chose your situation, good or bad. If it is really bad, a part of me wants to blame my dilemma on the other instead of recognizing my choice. It often seems easier to blame someone else than to accept responsibility. But if I want to free myself, I must take responsibility for my choices. The voice in your head is not always pleasant to hear. It causes suffering and picks on you. You must also be willing to leave your familiar anxieties behind. If you've been practicing fear, anger, and anxiety for any time, you may have become very good at it. You can become attached to your misery because you have identified with it for so long that you may even think that's who you are. You are not a deep well of misery. Let me assure you, you are so much greater than that. Your thoughts of suffering may confuse your very understanding of yourself. Who am I? What am I? Know thyself, Socrates. Watch out now. Take care. Beware now of thoughts that linger winding up inside your head. The hopelessness around you in the dead of night. Beware of sadness. It can hit you. It can hurt you. Make you sore. And what is more, that is not what you are here for. George Harrison. The lack of recognition of your inner self creates much of the world's suffering. Inner self. What do I mean by inner self? Another word for it is essence. Rabbi Simon Jacobson called it the soul. He would say suffering is the soul's plea for attention, for recognition. If the body needs attention, it lets you know with thirst, hunger, or maybe a muscle ache. If your soul is neglected, it lets you know too, with sadness, confusion, perhaps even fear, anxiety, or anger. Rabbi Jacobson went on to say, when he meets someone, he frequently asks, who are you? The person often responds by offering a business card. This is what you do, not who are you. Who are you? The person usually replies that they are defined by what they do, that is, who they are. The rabbi says, that is the inverse of what it should be. What the person does should be defined by who they are if they know who they are. They look at themselves from the outside looking in rather than from within looking out. There is a song within each of us, a unique piece of music that is part of our soul. If we would all know our song and express it as those around us also express it, there would be a symphony in which each voice was indispensable and together create the most beautiful of harmonies. Do not get confused by the voice in your head. You are something much greater than the chatterbox between your ears. There are practical techniques for experiencing knowledge of self, not belief, faith, or reading about it. Know by your own experience that you contain a treasure of being alive and have the capacity to experience that infinite universal one. Not belief or simply reading about it, but if you let go and dive in, there is no bottom, no top, no sides to the seat of the soul deep within the stillness. There is nothing to fear about that experience. It is both familiar and comforting. After all, where do you come from? The running commentary in your head keeps you thinking about things that either happened in the past or have not even happened. Anger is an unpleasant feeling we all are familiar with. It is a result of something in the past, a perceived injustice that we bang up against repeatedly. It can chew you up. Fear is about the future. This might happen, what could happen, what if. Some fear makes sense. If someone points a gun at you, fear is a normal reaction. I'm not saying all fear is always wrong. Sometimes it can help save you from harm, but you should not let it carry you away. Listen to your heart and make it the captain of your ship. If confronted with a frightening situation, I like to think I'd follow my breath to the connection with my heart and let my heart choose what action, if any, was warranted. Anger and fear are rooted in the past and the future, in other words. They don't exist. Are they our inner self calling for attention? They keep you from enjoying the peace and fulfillment that is now. Or is it that since we were distracted away from fulfillment, it is a reminder to come back to the place of fulfillment, to now? Whether you see it as a cry for attention from a neglected part of yourself depends on your perception. If you have been lost for a long time, you may not see it as a cry for attention from the soul or self. The true self is also sometimes called the Atman. Let us explore. Atman is a Sanskrit word that refers to the self or self-existent essence of individuals as distinct from ego and mind. Atman is a Sanskrit word defined in simple terms as the individual's inner self, spirit, or soul. The concept of Atman as the true self is, it can seem very difficult to let go of fear and anger, past and future. First, realize you are choosing anger and anxiety, and you have a choice. Choose instead not to give it the power to keep you from enjoying your life. It is, after all, your life. If you want to enjoy it, stop giving away your control. If you need to forgive someone for making you angry, do so. After all, we all are human beings. Human beings make mistakes. I am not suggesting that there is no place for anger. Sometimes, to counter bad behavior, it helps to show some anger, but remain in control. Sometimes my stepson would behave poorly, and not to let him know it was not all right, I'd have to be or pretend to be angry. I think we all know the feelings of anger that eats at you and anger that is used to show displeasure with bad behavior, and let it go. Is there a better choice in the moments of anger, fear, and hate? To be conscious of and follow the heart. I have lived most of my life by the principle. I have yet to regret any of those choices. To know the stillness within, to exist at the moment called now, requires you to quiet the voice in your head that is primarily busy judging or fearing or being pissed off, because to listen to it is not to be. Let it chatter, but focus your attention elsewhere. When I am a human being, each breath is like a caress of the Creator to the created, always anchoring me in the now. The trick to letting go is quite simple. Once you decide to let it go, replace your judgment or fear with the recognition that it is not real and is keeping you from experiencing the joy that is your birthright. Pay attention to your breath and realize that this breath is giving me life. Feel gratitude for the gift of life. Don't try to still your mind. Instead, let it observe your breath. It will become gradually still, and you'll be experiencing the joy of knowing you are alive at that moment. If you can go deep enough to experience the life energy behind your breath, it is beautiful. At first, you may only achieve a few moments of stillness before your mind gets distracted. Just bring your attention back to your breath, and the voice in your head will quiet. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Albert Einstein. There are emotional storms in every life, but if you are deeply anchored, the branches may bend in the storm, but they will not break. Emotions come and are experienced fully and acknowledged, but they do not run the show. Being rooted within, you can experience grief, loss, and uphill without uprooting. After all, birth and death are two sides of the same coin. Everyone alive was born and will die. That is a certainty. It's what goes on between birth and death that is important. Whether we spend all of our time focusing on the world without acknowledging the world within or recognizing the beauty within, that is glimpsed by most, but embraced only by those who have learned to love immersion in peace, where that still place is where love originates. Love of the Creator for the created, the infinite for the finite. There are many forms of love and expressions of love, but as I've heard many times in India, God is love and love is God are simple words that meaningful. Love connects all of creation, and there's no greater love than the Creator's love for the created. And the most fulfilling experience of the created is to know that love, to be immersed in a human experience. Human beings can know that fulfillment and can experience that love. I don't want the book to be another book of historic theories to entertain the mind. What I'm talking about can only be known by the heart. It must be experienced and felt. It cannot be known by thought alone. Some think that they need to immerse themselves in the wilderness and nature to return to a state of peace. Indeed, nature at its best exemplifies calm peacefulness. I love to be in nature as much as anyone, but I recognize the need to find the quiet, still serenity inside of me, lest the noise of the chattering monkey mind follows me into that sanctuary. So I hope that I have established this writer's perspective and will begin my story of stories. The day you're born, your story begins, and each day you get to write another page until the day you die and the book closes. What story will you write? I have lived so many stories. They are all intersect, connect, and fit into a lifetime. I could begin at the beginning and spin and weave all these stories together, but I may not wish to devote that much of my time to telling when new stories are being made even now. However long or short your life may be, know that your days are numbered, and you only can choose how to spend them. When they are spent, that's it. You can't get any more, so choose wisely how you will spend yours. All know the drop merges with the ocean. Few understand the ocean also merges with the drop, the beer. You are the drop. There's an ocean in this drop. I can put you in touch with the ocean and the drop. Cram, Rot. So thank you so much for tuning in. That is our chapter 1. I'm excited. So I will be putting part of the chapter on here, and if you would like to hear the full chapter, you can definitely find it on my YouTube page. So mi gente, go out to live your best life on the Saturday shenanigans. Y tú bien sabes, from Corinas Book by the beach, que siga la fiesta. Adiós.